Welcome to the Current Report podcast. I'm Cece Woods, investigative reporter at thecurrentreport.com. And today I'm joined by Mr. Tony Romo, actually Sergeant Tony Romo, one of two of the longest serving sergeants at LASD. Thank you, by the way, for your service.
Thank you, Cece.
Let's get into this. We're talking union today, unions, multiple unions today. And
Right.
you have a pretty strong background in that area. So why don't you give us your background so the viewers can understand who you are and your knowledge?
Well, over 36 years on the sheriff's department. This June, it'll be 37. Uh, and ever since I've been part of the department, I've always been part of either ALADS or POPA as a delegate, as a union rep, and as a board member. I have basically 35 years of experience doing that.
Let's get into the last 4 years. The last 4 years have been, from an outsider's view, covering the department, a complete nightmare on every level. And I have not seen any real effort on behalf of ALADS, the largest union that serves the LA County Sheriff's Department deputies. I am just absolutely mind boggled, jaw on the floor, that they thought it was appropriate to endorse Sheriff Robert Luna. I was in shock.
Unfortunately, the department decided, or ALADS decided to do that. And I was taken aback by it myself because ALADS never surveyed their own membership.
No, they
They,
didn't. They didn't ask anybody any questions.
and meanwhile, you have Popa also sitting on the sidelines where they haven't bothered to survey their membership or interview candidates that I'm aware of to make a determination if they are going to make an endorsement. And it's a little late before the primary, but I am going to be curious as to where they stand if there is an actual runoff in November, where Popa is also going to be standing.
So, why do you think ALADS jumped in so early? Because they are obviously very nervous about Sheriff Luna and all the damage he's done. And it's pretty clear looking around LA County what all of these Democrat leaders have done, which is why Spencer Pratt has been just surging in the polls. But putting their weight behind Luna the way they did, and then to gaslight their membership into thinking, why should we poll you, even though you pay the dues and it's your money we're using? And I mean, I'm just dumbfounded how, well, we knew it was political strategy because they absolutely knew that the membership would say, there's no way in hell we want our union to support Sheriff Robert Luna for reelection. Correct?
Correct. In all the years I've been part of the union, I have seen the union survey the membership or not even make an endorsement, but they decided to make an endorsement which, without even surveying their members, really took me by surprise, and I think it took a lot of the membership by surprise. And you know, there's a legal association that deputies can belong to. It's not a union per se, but it's a association which is called LASPA. And LASPA provides legal defense to its members, which is the primary focus when you're a police officer, is you want to always have that legal protection.
Yeah, they didn't do jack shit for Trevor Kirk, meaning not LASPA. LASPA supported him. He got
Right.
the legal representation he needed through LASPA. But ALADS,
Hi there.
their
Yeah.
argument was he is not a member. It doesn't matter. He's a deputy sheriff. And they should have at least spoken out, in my opinion. But they don't want to do that because their strategy is to get close to or stay close to Sheriff Robert Luna.
Right. They could have easily came out with a statement early on about the trial and at least thrown their support behind him, even though he was not a member. That's regardless, he's still a deputy sheriff,
Yeah.
and they're a union that bargains for the deputy sheriffs, but they also provide legal defense. If they didn't want to provide any monetary support, then that's entirely their option. But as a president of the union, when you see a deputy that's being severely prosecuted after he had actually not really did anything wrong except followed policy, and that's the sheriff's own words after the fact that the young man had been convicted in federal court, then he comes to his defense.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
that's one of the problems with Sheriff Luna. He's a day late and he's dollars short on just about everything that he's done in the last 4 years. So I know we're talking about the unions right now,
No, but we have to
but
talk about him because the
they
unions,
they're
they,
intertwined.
yeah, the ALATS just sent a long ass email because they are losing membership in droves, from what I'm hearing. I heard 90% of the Walnut Station totally bailed on them. I put up another post myself, like, what are you guys doing after the slap in the face to support a man who has done nothing but destroy this department and can't even manage a $500 million more budget with 30% less personnel. There's, I mean, they can't pay for save time, overtime, paper products, toilet paper. What the fuck is going on there?
The sheriff has no idea after 4 years of being in office, he has no idea what this department is really all about. He can't tell you
He's an outsider.
the union, the number of units, where they're all coming from, what they're all doing. He's kind of a day-to-day run out, take a few photo ops here and there, give a few speeches, hand out a few items, and he's not really listening to the ground level troops that have been telling him from day one where we needed the most help. He ignored the line level personnel, and then unfortunately, his managers, his executive staff didn't push the issues that we brought early on. For example, the retention, recruitment and retention. I sat in a meeting personally with a sheriff a couple months after he took office, and our bureau sat there, and there were about 3 or 4 of us that brought this to his attention, and he has done absolutely nothing to fix it. Maybe he had his executive staff telling him things were going good, but it was very obvious that it's not. When you have 500 people sign up for a test, but only 100, maybe a couple hundred show up, there's a problem with your recruitment. That's number one. And then from there on, it just gets worse and worse because you're not able to hire the people that you need. The problem is the unions didn't step up to the plate, ALADS or POPA, and demand a contract that was equivalent to the other agencies around LA County and within the state. You had CHP, Orange County, LAPD, and a lot of smaller agencies coming in and basically raping and pillaging the department of trained deputies. Why? Because they offered better pay, benefits, signing bonuses. And the county and the department and the sheriff and the unions let everybody down.
When it comes to the contract, ALADS put in their email newsletter that one of the reasons why they threw their support behind Sheriff Luna is because of the quote stable relationships he's building with the Board of Supervisors. Okay, great. You're calling not being able to get a contract, a pay raise for your deputies, you're calling that stable
Right,
relationships? Like,
right.
and you're
We,
talking about not being able to balance a higher budget with significantly less personnel. You can't even balance that budget and you call that stable?
you're exactly right. Like
Good
ALAX
Lord.
put, it's really sad that ALAX put all these reasons down in their recent letter about why they supported Sheriff Luna. But I think that the members, the community, and all of us deserve to know what exactly has the sheriff had a positive impact on the contract, on the well-being of the deputies. When you have a suicide rate on the department that has gone up
Crazy.
with Luna on the department rather than go down lower, which he promised to focus on wellness. Well, obviously, working the deputies to death and not being able to properly recruit, retain is hurting the department and it's hurting the deputies and they're putting in way more hours than they really want to or they have to. Now that there's a budget crisis, now they're going to get a break. But is it only they're only getting a break because there's a budget crisis? They didn't actually see that there's a big problem with working these guys to death. But it's the backbone of the department is in custody and patrol and the court services day-to-day operations. That's what we are required to do. Everything else that comes in after is extra. The detective division, the community relations, we need that, right? And those are support units to make things better for the community, to go out and investigate the hard work that the deputies are doing and put crime levels at a level that the community will feel safe. But Luna has done none of that. All he's done is take a lot of pictures and talk to the board of supervisors. Well, the time for talking was done a long time ago. We want to see some action. The deputies deserve a leader who's going to not just talk about things, but actually put things into play that are benefiting the department members and the community. It's twofold. You take care of your deputies, and the deputies are taking care of the community, and things are going to be good, and LA County is going to be safe. I still live in LA County. I have family, friends that live in LA County. It's a big deal to me, not just being an employee for the department, but I want my community to be safe for my family, friends, neighbors. I don't want to have to move out of LA County to feel safe.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about a lifer over here. And, it's really disheartening. I am praying that Spencer Pratt becomes mayor of Los Angeles because that's the only way we're going to be able to clean up LA City proper and, start these different relationships that, and well, we have to get rid of the board of supervisors. And I am praying to God that Spencer or the DOJ looks so deep into the board of supervisors and we start seeing some indictments coming down because they are dirty as fuck. That's the only way to get a new board.
And the power of the incumbency in LA County has always been really strong. And with the incumbent sheriffs and the incumbent board of supervisors, it used to be a guarantee that you were going to get reelected. But I think people are tired of the nonsense that's going on. And finally, you're starting to see some turnover. Now, the board of supervisors, they have a great say when it comes to the elected sheriff, and they put their support behind Luna, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible.
But they've
And
done
it
nothing to help the department at all. So, what has he done in
exactly
4 years? He hasn't done anything, not one thing that has grown this department. Here he is saying, oh, we hired this marketing firm and now recruitment's up 25%. Okay, great. How do you explain the 30 recruits that just graduated when it's supposed to be over 100? And half of
right.
those, if not most of them, won't even be, on the department. They're going to go to other agencies because who the fuck wants to work for the sheriff's department under these conditions? It's crazy.
And that's the unfortunate thing about it is you're not only it's like digging in the sand, but you have to put up a dam, right?
Right.
And the first level woulda, shoulda, could have been for the board of supervisors to work with the sheriff's department and bring them up to par on a salary contract with all the other agencies. Then you better even retain some people that had um, more experience and they wouldn't be taking early retirements. We have a lot of people that should have worked till they were 55. They're leaving before they hit 50.
I know.
They're leaving at 50 where they should work another 5 years. But they're so fed up with the department and the way that Luna's handling things are on the department, and that the board of supervisors aren't making any attempts to retain that experience. It's almost like they want the experienced people to just go away so they can bring in younger deputies and have them work solely in the manner of this new attitude that they want. And it's not safe. And they I think they finally realize with all the smash and grabs, all the looting that goes on, it took them a while to wake up and start to make some changes back in make changes in laws to stop the crime. But you need some enforcement. You can't just sit on your hands, and that's what they're pushing. They want the deputies not to be proactive. They want them to drive around and wave at people and smile
Yeah.
and not
Well,
take enforcement action when it's really necessary.
what are your thoughts on the candidates in the primary?
I've seen some experienced people who are running,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And the person with the most experience in the sheriff's seat is Alex Villanueva.
Yes, it is.
Now he had his issues
Yes.
in the past, but I think he's learned from that,
Yes.
and he's willing to make strides to make things better and uh, keep those relationships
Yes.
and push forward and maybe not so much be a bull in the china shop,
Yeah.
but he has the most experience.
100%.
So
He is the only candidate that has the ability to turn this department around and quickly. The only one. And yes, look, in 2022, even though Alex and I were not on the same page, we had our little issues back then. I still voted for him, even though I was vocally not supporting him at that time. And now we've come together full circle because we both had lessons to learn. I had lessons to learn in my reporting, and I had lessons to learn about the department. He had his own lessons to learn about being in a very powerful seat, the largest sheriff's department in the world.
Right.
Do they
We're the
even have
largest.
sheriff's department
We're
anywhere else in
well,
the
yeah,
world?
they do. And
Do they
we're
really?
the third. We're the third largest agency in the United
Yes,
States.
yes,
We're
yes.
behind New York City and Chicago,
Right.
right?
But the
So,
largest sheriff's department
but
in the
the
world.
largest in you're right, exactly. So, you have New York City PD and Chicago PD, and then you have the Sheriff's Department is the largest agency. But right now, we're not the largest agency because we're 25 to 30% below
Below.
staffing.
Yeah.
So with Luna's talking about making some headway, and the unions are saying that Luna is making headway.
No, he's
Well, the
not.
unions are entirely like keeping their heads buried in the sand, and they want their members to keep their heads buried in the sand and just listen to the propaganda that they're
Yep.
putting out.
Yep.
Well, they should be honest with the members. Luna's not the right choice,
Mm-mm.
and they were afraid that if they put out a survey to the membership, that the membership was going to be overwhelmingly for Villanueva. And because they have some personal issues with some of the people on their political action committee, and I probably still on the board, that have personal uh, vendettas or dislikes for Villanueva, they didn't even survey the membership.
Yeah.
They don't want to know.
Yeah.
So you can listen to what they say,
Nobody's
or
listening to them. The only
you
people that are
yeah.
listening to them are their own union reps and their political election committee and their board members. Like those are the only people that are listening to them.
Well,
Everybody else knows they're full of shit.
and that's unfortunately what the deputies need to realize is they're getting sold a bill of goods, and they got to wake up. So, like I've said this before, and I'll say it again, you know, don't take your ball and go home. Take your money and invest it and save yourself some money and send a message to ALADS and go and join LASPA because you'll get your benefits. You'll get legal representation when you need it. And um, the unions aren't bargaining for us. They're
No.
not they're sitting on their hands and they're not bargaining like they should.
What good is
And
a bargaining unit if they don't bargain? And by the way, the bottom line is when it comes to a pay raise, that should be a pretty much an automatic when you're talking about cost of living increase. Like it should
right.
be an automatic. You got 0% in 4 years. You got nothing, absolutely nothing with him supposedly working in tandem with the board and with ALADS.
Yeah,
Zero results.
you got agencies in Orange County that they put into their contract that they need to be either one, two, or three in the state, in the entire state in pay. If
Right.
they don't get that, if they don't have that, then they get raises equivalent to push them up into one of those three positions.
Yeah.
Now,
I
the
mean, it's
sheriff's department has been ignored basically and not kept up to par with those agencies,
no,
with none of the agencies surrounding us.
no.
That's why Tustin PD put a big old sign in front of on Mission
I saw that.
Avenue recruiting uh, deputy sheriffs,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they were looking for laterals, and they were talking about their signing bonus. I mean, they brought that sign in because they
That's
knew that
marketing.
they're
That's
going to
marketing.
get these trained deputies. Our training bureau does an outstanding job. Those guys, get these kids ready to hit the jail, hit the street, do what needs to be done. But then the sheriff's department management and the board of supervisors forget about them. And they forget that there's other places these guys could go to work where they're going to be appreciated, they're going to be supported, and their pay and benefits is going to be equivalent to what it is to live in California.
I think that's a good note to end this episode. We'll have more updates. I want to talk to you in depth after the primary, unless something big comes up before that, and we know
Of
it
course.
can. All
Of
right.
course.
Thank you, Tony, for joining me. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for
We'll
having me,
see you
Cece. Thank
soon.
you for letting me talk about this stuff.
Yeah, no, I love to have you on here and talk about this stuff because it's important and we need everybody to understand what's really happening at the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. So we'll see y'all soon.
Thank you. Take care.